Welcome to the Community Health Hero Show, where we spotlight local organizations that provide much-needed health and wellness resources and information so that everyone in our community can strive to live healthier, happier, and longer lives. I'm Dr. Penny Walker, Senior Medical Director for United Healthcare Southeast Region. Thank you for joining us. Today on Community Health Heroes, in recognition of May being designated as National Mental Health Month, we'll be talking about the topic which is of vital importance to our community. Additionally, May is also recognized as Skin Cancer Awareness and Vision Health Month, so we'll be talking about what you can do to detect skin cancer as well as what you need to do to protect your eyesight. Today's guests on Community Health Heroes include Dr. Karen DeSalvo, Health Commissioner, City of New Orleans, who will talk about the state of mental health services in our area. Dr. Andrea Marina, Assistant Professor, Department of Dermatology, Tulane University Health Science Center, who will discuss the detection and prevention of skin cancers. We have lots of great information to share with you today, so don't go away.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all working with United Way for a million little reasons. The kids of our communities, to ensure their academic success all the way to graduation day. You see, it takes about 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a kid becoming one or the other could be a professional athlete, or it could be you. Studies showed the earlier we get to kids, the better their chances. So become a United Way volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor, and make a difference in the life of a child, for the life of that child.
Give.
Advocate.
Volunteer.
Live united. Join your favorite NFL players. Take the pledge. Go to unitedway.org.
Many people have drawn the conclusion that continued cuts of our area's mental health and substance abuse treatment system are resulting in more violent crimes in our community. Whether it's a young mother harming her children because she feels there's nowhere to go to receive the mental health treatment she needs, or the police officers risking their lives as they engage dangerous criminals high on illegal substances, the city's existing mental health safety net plays a key role in protecting the public's health safety. Joining us today to give an update to mental health funding and services currently available in our area is Dr. Karen DeSalvo, Health Commissioner for the City of New Orleans. Welcome back to the show, Dr. DeSalvo.
Thank you. It's really great to be here. Thanks for the chance to talk about what is one of the most important health issues that our community is facing.
Exactly. It's Mental Health Month this month.
It is. It's Mental Health Month.
And you have lots of information to share about what our city is doing to address this big issue.
We do. I think the first thing I want the community to know is that about half of everyone is at some point in their life going to be exposed to either themselves having a challenge with mental health or someone in their family or their close friend set. So it's really common for people to have mental health issues. That can be anything from just some depression associated with the death of a family member all the way to what we call severe mental illness. And sometimes the severe mental illness is the one that you hear most about on the news, but really it's a big spectrum of disease affecting all ages and all people of all walks of life.
What, as the community, what can they see in their guests, their loved ones, their friends, their neighbors? What can they see that will make them aware of what to do and what signs and symptoms to be concerned about?
Well, we want people to really be thoughtful that there are sometimes behavior changes, we call it, in people that may be a trigger that there's something more going on than they're just a little tired. So, for example, in children, they may be less playful than usual. They may not be as interested in their schoolwork or playing with their friends. Sometimes they act out in the other fashion and they're more angry. The adults can get withdrawn. They can stop grooming themselves. So you may find that your parent or your loved one is not getting up and getting dressed in the way that they used to. And those can be sort of subtle signs that they're not quite feeling as good. Sleeping a lot or sleeping too little. Sometimes people act out by spending too much money, or there's just a change in behavior, I think, is the key trigger for folks. And then just remembering that grieving and depression can be normal when there's a death or a big life change. People have had heart attacks. So even simple, normal life events can trigger some temporary mental health challenges for people. And I also want the community to know this, that most mental health diagnoses are treatable. We have good therapy, talk therapy, for example, some creative things like art and drum circle therapy, and then medication when it's necessary. So there's lots of treatment available. People shouldn't feel isolated and afraid, and they should reach out for that help. They should not be worried about stigma. Any doctor that you talk to, any normal doctor that they see would be able to help get them directed or treat them right in the office.
So for kids, you should look for like some changes in their grades, maybe changes in their level of activity. And then for adults, it's more like personal hygiene, interest in things around them, that kind of information.
That's right. Changes in sleep patterns, eating patterns, exercise patterns, work ability. So it can be a whole host of changes. Severe mental illness tends to present when people are in their late teen years or early 20s. And family members who've experienced that will tell you that there's a dramatic change in the person's hygiene, so cleaning themselves or their ability to think clearly or carry on normal conversation and continue with their normal lives. Those people require a really intensive special set of treatments that can be available in both the public or private sector, and usually there's medication needed. So that's the diagnoses like schizophrenia that people think of very often. But that's a smaller subset of the population. For most folks, it's usually pretty easily treatable, and people can recover well.
Do we have enough beds in this area to take care of those people that are severely mentally ill?
You know, there are so for people who have severe mental illness who require parts of the healthcare system like inpatient beds and medication, sometimes that can be very expensive, and specialized treatment centers. We don't have as many services as we think that we need in this community, but we have been expanding the availability of services for the past couple of years. Working with the state and federal government and local partners, our legislators have been great champions of this. We've been able to move along a pathway of getting more services available, whether that's someone that can go into the home, like a crisis response service to help a family or neighbors when they see someone in distress, or the police, and or find the right place for a person to get into the right medication therapy. So it's not yet where we want it to be, but we are making strides every month to improve. And I'll give you a little statistic. We've been working together as a community, and in the last year, we've been able to drop by 23%, so by almost a quarter, the number of people waiting for a disposition, for a place to go in a bed. So by working together to use every resource we have smartly and add resources and educate people appropriately, then we're able to get people into a better place of care. And so that is an exciting trend in our community, but I want to see it continue because we want to get everybody service right when they need it at the right time in the right place.
And in your opinion, is there a link between mental illness and the violence that we're seeing in the community?
It's a really a complex situation. So we do tend in this country to link mental health and violence. And we do that for some reasons that make sense sometimes. People who are chronically exposed to violence in their neighborhoods, in their homes, in their school systems, actually do feel the impact of that. That chronic trauma really affects people's ability to be resilient and strong, and it can lead to post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, depression, conflict behavior, acting out sort of things, substance abuse, to self-medicate. So we know that chronic exposure to violence in communities leads people to have the consequences of mental illness. So one of our jobs in the city is to get people linked up to the right services so that they don't have unnecessary side effects from what they're exposed to. On the other hand, there's a small fraction of people who have severe mental illness who that illness can cause them to act out in ways that can be violent. And it's not most of the people who have mental health challenges or substance abuse, but there are some. And it really requires a very intensive and very strong continuum of care, we say, right, to make sure that when someone gets in the system like that, that we keep services wrapped around them is the way we say it. So it takes more than just a doctor for folks like that. It takes social work and good job training and strong housing. And again, it's a place where the police have had, as you mentioned in the outset, exposure in the past, and that gets certainly a lot of attention. Police are trained in that area, and they're getting more training. The city's working with them on that. But it is critical for safety that we refresh that and that we make sure that people know the right number. While I think of it, the number to call is 826-2675. People can also call 211, but it's not direct service connection. 826-2675. If you have a family member, a friend, a neighbor, so you see someone on the street who seems to be in crisis for mental health, that's the number to call, and that will get a team to go out and work with that person to find the best place for them to get supported and get back into care. NOLA.gov/health. It's the city's website, and if you go to the health department's place, we have a set of resources that they can find there on the web page. And they can also call the health department number.
I mean, I guess if worse came to worse and there was a true crisis and they didn't remember a number, they could call 911.
That's right, 911, and they'll be able to get folks linked up with the mental health services. Yeah, if you're ever in doubt, don't wait, call 911.
Well, Karen, this has just been fabulous information and very much needed in our community, especially as we enter summer and busy months and kids are out of school and there may be a little bit more stress going on in the household.
Sure.
So I can't. Well, thank you, Dr. DeSalva, for joining us today. And we really appreciate you sharing this valuable information with our community. Stay tuned for more Community Health Heroes.
Body language can tell you all sorts of things. Like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. Face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty. Time to call 911 and get them to a hospital immediately. Learn the body language and spot a stroke fast.
Here we go. We're gonna make some juice.
It's gonna be good.
She's excited. A little bit of kale.
Please don't put this online.
I'm putting it all over the line.
It's wet. It needs something. No, it'll go.
Don't break my juicer. Looks good.
You ready to try it?
Come on, baby.
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
It's okay.
Okay, all right.
They might surprise you.
Hey, she took another sip. You saw it?
Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.
1 in 5 Americans will develop skin cancer during the course of their lifetime. Each year, there are more new cases of skin cancer than the combined incidence of cancers of the breast, prostate, lung, and colon. Joining us today to talk about the detection and prevention of cancers is Dr. Andrea Marina, Assistant Professor, Department of Dermatology, Tulane University Health Science Center. Welcome to the show, Dr. Marina.
Thank you so much for having me.
So this is Skin Cancer Awareness Month. What can myself and our community do to help prevent skin cancer?
Well, skin cancer is the most common type of skin cancer, as you said. Skin cancer is the abnormal growth of skin cells. The most common types are 3. They are basal cell carcinoma, squamous cell carcinoma, and melanoma. And basically, everyone has some risk of skin cancer. But basically, there are 3 factors that determine an individual's risk for skin cancer, and they are skin type, sun exposure, and family history. So people who have had a lot of sun exposure are at risk, people who use tanning beds, people with lighter skin, and people with a family history of melanoma.
And at what age should you be concerned about protecting your children from skin cancer?
At all ages, from birth on up. We recommend that even babies use sun protection. Sunscreen of at least SPF 15 is recommended on a daily basis. And for prolonged outdoor exposure, we recommend an SPF of at least 30.
So 15 if you have minimal exposure, 30 if it's more?
Exactly.
And I think there's still myths about if it's cloudy that you're more protected. What do you have to say about that?
You're not more protected when it's cloudy. The UV rays still penetrate through the clouds, and so everyday sun protection is what we recommend.
And what other ways can you protect yourself besides sunscreen? I mean, is it heavy clothing, light clothing? Does the color of the clothing matter?
Well, you can wear hats. Usually darker clothes confer more protection. We recommend wide brim hats, long sleeves. which is difficult in our weather.
And what about reapplying sunscreens? I mean, a lot of people, they'll put it on, it says it lasts 8 hours and they are fine. What do you have to say about
You
that?
generally want to reapply every 2 to 3 hours when you're in the sun, like at the beach. So the key is to reapply.
Okay,
throughout
quite
the day.
frequently it sounds like.
Quite frequently.
And what should a patient look for or a community member look for if they're concerned that they have an abnormal growth on their skin? What would they see?
Well, skin cancer can look various different ways depending on the type, but generally basal cell and squamous cell carcinomas, they tend to look like red or pink spots. They generally last more than a month. They do not heal. They can often bleed and scale. Melanomas are generally new or changing moles, and so we follow what are called the A, B, C, D criteria. The A stands for asymmetry, which means that both sides don't look alike. The B stands for border, which means irregular border. And the C stands for color, so different colors, various shades of brown.
So if it was pink and it turns brown, or it's brown and it
Right.
turns pink, that
Right,
would be
or
a
darker,
concern.
various darker shades of brown and black. And then diameter is anything greater than a pencil eraser, which is approximately 6 millimeters.
Well, those are very simple rules to remember. And what do you recommend if you see something abnormal on yourself or a loved one?
Well, you definitely want to be screened either during a public skin cancer screening or by a private dermatologist.
And are you guys doing anything for awareness of skin cancer this month?
Yeah, we are doing a free skin cancer screening at the Tulane Clinic. It's at the Tulane Dermatology Clinic at 1415 Tulane Avenue. And it'll be run from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Friday, May 10th.
So this Friday coming up.
That's right.
That's really good. Is there anything else that you want to share about Skin Cancer Awareness Month?
I just want everyone to be aware of skin cancer, be aware that it's very common, and so if anyone sees any suspicious new lesions, to go ahead and have it checked by a dermatologist.
And in New Orleans, do we have a higher prevalence, lower prevalence, or are we basically the same with the South?
We probably have a higher prevalence just because we have a lot of outdoor activities, outdoor working people, so I think our risk is probably on the higher end.
Dr. Marina, where can people find more information if they're wanting to know about skin cancer, know about the ABCDs that you were talking about? Where do they go?
Well, the best website is the American Academy of Dermatology's website. It's at aad.org, or you can always go to your local board-certified dermatologist office.
Okay, great information. There's a rumor that people of color do not need to be concerned about melanoma. Can you help clarify that?
Yes, well, that is absolutely incorrect. All people need to have some concern for skin cancer. People of color generally have a lower risk of skin cancer due to their higher melanin content, and African American populations are at disproportionate risk for a certain type of melanoma that occurs on the hands and the feet and the nails. So everyone really has to be aware of their body and check their skin regularly.
So it's not just looking at your face and looking at your back, but you can actually need to look at your fingernails and see if there's abnormal growth. What would that look like?
It's generally discoloration. It's a discolored streak that's in the nail. And we see that very commonly. If it occurs in all nails, it's not a big deal. But if you have a streak in the nail that progressively gets larger and larger, that's when you need to be concerned.
Well, thank you for being here, Dr. Marina. This has been incredibly valuable information, especially as we head into the summer months in New Orleans.
Absolutely. Thanks.
We'll be right back with more Community Health Heroes.
In 1990, in Severn, Maryland, the daughter of a clergyman was discovered by a music industry insider while pumping gas at a service station. The odds of her getting signed and spending 11 weeks at #1 on the U.S. singles charts? 1 in 19 million. The odds of this former church choir singer going on to sell 40 million records? 1 in 15 million. The odds of the same woman winning 6 Grammy Awards and starring in 2 Broadway plays? 1 in 75 million. The odds of this musician and performer having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 88. I'm Toni Braxton, and I encourage you to learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference.
Due to the importance of this next valuable topic, we are going to rebroadcast an episode from a previous show that we feel bears repeating. On average, 1 to 2 children develop cancer each year for every 10,000 children in the United States. While there has been improvement in survival rates in recent years due to significant advances in treatment, resulting in a cure or long-term remission for a substantial portion of children with cancer, there remains many who die from the disease. Joining us today is Mr. Wes McWhorter, a local bicycle enthusiast who annually pledges funds to the Pavlov Foundation's Ride Across America, which donates funds to research programs that help fight childhood cancers. Welcome to the show, Wes. Thank you for joining us.
I appreciate you guys having me back again.
Tell me about how did the Pavlov Foundation get started and how did you get involved?
So the Pavlov Foundation was started by Jeff Castellaz and Joanne Thrailkill after their son Pablo passed away from Wilms tumor at the age of 6. They wanted to try and take an experience that was, clearly very challenging and devastating for their family and turn it into something that, would hopefully provide support and hope for families that are dealing with the disease. And so for the last few years, they worked very hard to fund some research programs across the country, as well as some educational outreach programs, some quality of life programming as well. They have a very popular photography program that they do called Shutterbugs. And in fact, today there's a golf tournament going on in Algiers that's benefiting the Pavlov Foundation too. So it's all sort of leading up to Voodoo Festival this weekend. We'll have a presence there. So I became involved with them because my wife, right after Pablo died, she found some videos of Jeff on YouTube where the first year he did this, he rode from Jacksonville, Florida to Los Angeles. It took him like 6 weeks to traverse the country. And every day they were doing dedications to kids who are currently in treatment, and then kids who had lost their battle with cancer, and so she just kind of thought I would like that, and of course I thought it was incredibly inspiring story. And then the following year we volunteered at Voodoo, and then last year I rode 700 miles from Nashville to New Orleans with the group. And this year I rode 1,000 miles from Boston, Massachusetts to Raleigh with a group of riders. There were actually 3 of us, Jeff, myself, and another cancer dad, Alex Weinert from Seattle, who did the full distance, So the one thing I did just want to say is that this year specifically our fundraising goal was $200,000. And even before we finished the ride, we had surpassed $250,000. So we were all very excited about that. Wonderful. Yeah, for sure.
So where did this love of bikes come from?
Like probably a lot of people in the world, in fact, we were talking, some people don't ride bikes, right? So I have to acknowledge that that's not everybody. But I had, an enjoyment of riding when I was a little kid, had a BMX bike and, would build ramps with my friends in the neighborhoods and things like that. But when I turned 13, I was always kind of a small kid, was not really great at football. I was terrible at basketball, decent soccer player, but somehow decided I, would go for kind of a longer ride on my bike one day. And one of my teachers it was either 7th or 8th grade, her husband was a cyclist at the time. And so she was really good friends with my family, and she was like, well, you should go out and go for a ride with Scott Schaefer. And I said, sure, sounds great. So really when I was very young, I had somebody that sort of mentored me and encouraged me to become a rider, and I mean, I've been riding bikes pretty much ever since then, at a competitive level, and most recently have actually started a new business around building a cycling lifestyle brand, so it's kind of coming full circle for me.
So tell me, if I want to know more information about Pavlov, how do I find out more about events that are going on, or if I want to donate, how would I find that information?
Sure. So Pavlov.org is the foundation's website. They do a great job of keeping it up to date, both in terms of news that's going on with the foundation, events that are going on really around the country. So Pavlov.org is a great place to start. They also have a Twitter account that's very simple. It's @Pavlov, Pablove. I have a personal blog, ridewestride.com, that I'm constantly updating. And then, there's a very strong local connection for this organization as well. We do an event, like I was saying today, there's a golf tournament that's going on. And then in the springtime, we have an event called Pedaling for Pavlov, which is really focused on like getting kids out and families out to sort of participate in these little small races, but really, again, it's about, just sort of raising awareness and money for the foundation. So. And
how does the foundation choose bicycle riding versus any other way of raising?
Yeah, Jeff is, he loves cycling, right? So I think for him, he would probably tell the story better than I can, but the original ride was intended to be a celebration of Pablo defeating cancer, because there was a moment where they really thought he was going to beat Wilms, and when he relapsed, and very quickly, things went downhill from there. It was very cathartic, I think, for him. Again, he could tell the story better than I can, but I think it was very cathartic for him to take that trip, and so it just the first year. He came back home to LA and they had $250,000 in their PayPal account for the Pavlov Foundation. So that's really what happened. They took something really, really challenging for their family and turned it into something that is phenomenal. It's good stuff that they're doing. Really great work. And for me, it's an honor to be able to call them friends and certainly to share the road with them. So.
Well, Wes, thank you for telling us so much about Pavlov, your cycling passion, and the wonderful organization helping children with cancer.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thanks again for having me.
2 outs with a runner on first base. Now the big guy comes off the bat, hitting .342 with 92 RBIs and 36 homers. First pitch is fouled into his back.
Chill raw and prepared foods promptly. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Crack yellow.
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
Thank you once again for joining us. If you would like to suggest a health topic or send information on your health organization's event, please visit our Facebook page or email us at communityhealthheroes@gmail.com. We hope that the information we provided to you today will help you and your family live healthier and happier lives. I'm Dr. Penny Walker, and I'll see you next time on Community Health Heroes.